Welcome to Dental Business RX. Practice success in 30 minutes or less.
Thank you for calling ABC Dental.
If you've been a regular listener to the podcast, you know I am not a big fan of managed care, PPOs, HMOs, or any reduced fee plan. You don't get paid what you're worth. They cost you your profitability. And when it gets really bad, it can make you question whether you even want to own a practice. I've also mentioned in prior episodes how many MGE clients have dropped all of their plans to go completely fee for service in their office. They get paid their full fee for all procedures, $1,400 for a crown instead of the $800 to $850 a plan pays. And it's with this in mind that I'm pretty pumped about this week's episode. We'll be interviewing a special guest, MGE client Dr. Arvind Philomin. Dr. Philomin owns Aesthetics Dental Spa in New York City and Washington Heights. And we're going to discuss exactly how he dropped all of his plans and was able to almost 30x his practice. Yes, 30x. We have Dr. Philomin all hooked up. Hi, Dr. Philomin, you over there?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay, good. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Here. And I figured what we do, since you're one of, I've been talking about MGE clients who have dropped managed care. You're one of those clients. So I figured I'd just ask questions and let you roll with it. They want to hear from you a lot more than they want to hear from me. So you have one of the most productive offices in New York City. I mean, I know your numbers, if not in the United States.
Oh, thank you for saying that.
You absolutely do, which is amazing when you consider that you don't participate in any insurance at all.
That's right. We don't participate in any insurance anymore.
I mean, you don't even accept assignment.
No, we just fill out forms for them, and then we actually write the address of the insurance company, put it in an envelope, even put a stamp for them and give it to them, and they just drop it in the mailbox.
Wow. Okay, so with that in mind, you have super productive practice, no accepting assignment, right? Why don't we start at the beginning, because that's where you are now. How did you start out?
Well, just like everybody else, I actually have nobody in the dental family, so I'm the first dentist in my family. Mm-hmm. I do have doctors in my family, but I'm the first dentist. And I didn't know what to do. I had no direction. So like everybody else, I went to ask a mentor. In this case, it was actually my director of my program. I went up to him and said, Frank, help me with what I should do. Okay, I don't know what to do next. He's like, Arvind, it's very simple. This is New York City. All you have to do is go by a practice, get a year or two of residency or some training outside, like maybe be an associate or something. Mm-hmm. Then go buy a practice. Don't buy something very expensive. Just buy something, between the 300, 500 range, 500K range, and then try to just accept all insurances and you will be busy.
And when was this? This was in what year?
2002.
Okay.
So when I bought my first practice in 2004, I just followed, again, I don't know how to do this. I'm just going to follow someone who's done it before. And this man has done it, and he retired, and he became faculty, and he became a clinical director for my program. So that's who I listened to, and I did exactly what he did. 2 years of a year of residency, another year and a half of working outside for somebody, and then I went and purchased my first practice. And it was a small practice. It made about I'm going to say roughly 300,000, somewhere on that range, and 70% of the office was just Medicaid.
Okay,
and about remainder of the 30% was. I'm going to say 20% or 25% was more union and some private insurances. I would say 5% fee for service.
Okay.
That's how I started the whole process. I worked hard. Actually, you worked very, very hard. I followed what he said. I took more and more insurance plans, and I was always doing dentistry, but I didn't actually see the result from it. I would work so hard and got nothing out of it. In terms of there was no financial gain. Mm-hmm. Also, I really felt I wasn't helping patients.
Okay.
I see these kids come to me. He was 19 years old, and he walked in with a full, so many cavities in his mouth. And there are better things I could have done, but I knew the insurance would only cover fillings.
Got it.
And I just did fillings on his mouth, 3 quads full of fillings. He comes back to me 2 years later. Half those fillings are broken now. Now they can be fixed. I got to take him out. He's 21. I'm leaving him with no back teeth. And this is not something I would have done if I were able to treat him the way I want to treat him, not what the insurance would allow me to treat him.
Okay.
So that's how I knew I need to change. That was the first thing I had to do. And a good friend of mine, actually, he used your services, like MGE services, to learn management.
Right.
And I always wondered how he did so well in life. So I went and asked him, hey, bud, can you help me? He gave me 2 options. Option 1, he said, well, I can buy your practice for $1.
For $1?
and he would take 51% of the office. And he said, I would still make the exact same money at the end of the year. Maybe,
Okay.
if not, maybe more. Or two, he said, you know what, just go to them and learn. It's better for you.
That's too funny. But now, as far as working, you were working how many hours a week at that point?
I would do 6 days a week, except for Sunday. I would work Monday through Saturday.
Wow.
And Mondays through Saturday, Friday would be like long days. And then Saturday would be a half a day, which is still 9 to 3.
And how many patients were you seeing in a given day?
15 to 20 sometimes. And it was like a small practice, 5 of us there. I just couldn't do it anymore at some point of time. So I asked my wife to actually go to school, and she's such a sweet girl. She's like, sure, I'll go to school for you. And she went to school and she came to help me.
So you practiced with Divya, Dr.
Yes.
Divya, and she became a dentist after you had already started practicing.
That's correct.
Wow. Okay.
After I started practice, she just came to help me. That's how she started working for me. And then it was still not enough.
But now, who really works for who? I guess is the. No, I'm kidding.
Well,
Who's the boss?
I still own the practice, but she owns me. So
Okay. So then she came to work with you as well.
right,
Got it.
correct.
But you were seeing 20 plus patients a day.
Yeah, and I would probably produce close to $3,000, and it would barely. New York is expensive, so
Right.
to live there was not easy too. So I was barely making it. It wasn't so great for me. But also, it was one thing. I was not making money. I was not happy with what I was doing. I knew I needed a change. So that's when I came to MGE, and little things I learned after my first few basic seminars is how to change certain things in the practice. And I'm going to tell you, I learn from people, but I don't apply all of it. With this, I would tell you, MGE, I applied probably 10, 20% maybe, but I saw a significant jump in income. I got more comfortable with what I was doing. It became more easier because things started lining up. It was more organized.
Got it.
And that's when one day I said, you know what? I walked into the office and I said, this insurance plan does not do any good for anybody. I'd rather not see these patients anymore.
So now, if you don't mind me asking, when was that? Like, when was the point when you went, okay, so statistics are going up. You've done the ABC,
Right.
the MGE sales and communication seminars.
Right.
And then, so things are getting better.
Correct.
Case acceptance is increasing. And then you go, when was it you finally decided, okay, I need to get rid of these plans? Was there something that happened, or was there like a particular moment?
Well, when I saw this 21-year-old kid came back, to 2009, I did his fillings, and that's when I started at MGE. 2011, I'm like seeing this kid with broken teeth, and I'm like, okay, something has to be done. And then I said, okay, the plan is not helping me at all. Just to give you an idea, they would pay me $43 for an exam, x-rays, and a cleaning, when I paid my hygienist $47 an hour. So I don't even know how I made that work that time.
Wow.
But I knew something had to be done. So I just said, that's it. 30 days, we're not taking this plan anymore. That's how I started. First
And
plan.
I wonder if we should mention the plan. This was a union plan?
This is
We don't have to say the name if you don't want.
no, it's a Medicaid plan. It's called New York Presbyterian Plan. It's run by Columbia, I think. I'm not sure, but it's a Medicaid plan basically. And it's very funny how they pay you too. So they have to offer us what Medicaid offers us, right?
Okay.
But they don't give you that price. Because there's some multiple middlemen in there. So by the time the money comes to us, it's it's like third of what Medicaid would pay if the person had clear Medicaid.
Wow. So it's worse than Medicaid.
Absolutely.
From a
Medicaid is
reimbursement
so much better.
perspective.
Correct.
Wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I knew this was not doing any good benefit for me. And almost 40% of my entire patient pool was from this plan.
Okay.
So I'm like, you know what? Shut it down. But the beauty was this. As soon as I dropped it, I was able to spend more time on my patients and just giving them the education they needed. I started seeing them accepting my treatment. They were happy. I was happy doing the treatment, and I was also making more money.
So you had less volume in the practice.
Absolutely, yeah.
What percentage of those patients did you lose when you dropped the plan?
Well, I still lost a chunk of them because they were still Medicaid. They couldn't afford it.
Right.
But I kept 10, 15%. That was still good. Like I had 90 new patients before I made this change. But after the change, I would say I had like 50, 60, something like that.
Okay.
It's just not so bad.
From that plan or just overall?
Overall patients.
Okay. So you were still getting new patients from other sources.
Yeah.
That you dropped
Other
this
union
one.
plans, other private insurance plans. Yes. 2009 to 2011, the only thing I dropped was this one Medicaid plan. It was the first thing I did.
So you dropped that one. Now, and that was 40% of your office.
That's right.
So what was the reaction from your team when you told them you were going to drop it?
They were shocked when I said we're going to drop this plan. They were like, no, we have nobody. I'm like, no, let's just help the guys we can help and let's see what happens. And they also saw the difference after a month or two. They did feel bad to tell people you don't take insurance anymore. But at the same note, those people who wanted real help and they wanted to stay back with us, they stayed. It was a small portion of it, 10, 15%, but it was still worth it.
Okay, so it was made clear we don't take your plan. You could still come here. We just don't take that fee structure anymore.
Exactly.
Reimbursement.
You're right.
Okay.
So, and I saw differences that people would stay, some would leave. Many left for the Medicaid plan. It didn't matter. But I knew I could do the same with newer plans. And that's what happened next.
Okay.
So as I saw a union plan which was not benefiting the practice anymore and I'm having a lot of problems with it, I would say, okay, fine, we drop this plan.
Now, just so people can kind of get the impact of this. So the union plan that you dropped, right? And I don't know if there were a lot of union plans outside of the big city like New York, Chicago, or whatever. Like if you're practicing in, I don't know, Kansas City, you may not have a lot of union plans, right?
They may still have DMOs and HMOs though.
That's true, of course, and PPOs. But so usually these are really low reimbursement.
Very low, yeah.
So to
$450 for a crown, $300 for a root canal.
So it's just so people can get an idea of what your fee structure was, if you don't mind. So it was $300 for a root canal for molar endo. How much was your full fee?
$1,100.
Wow. And same thing. So for a crown, it was $450. What was your full fee?
$1,200.
Wow. Okay. So that's like a 60% write-off plus. Okay. So you dropped the union plan next. Now, when you dropped these plans, was there anything special you did? Just drop the plan? Was there any like procedure you gave the front desk to do or?
No, we would write a letter to all the patients in the plan. We would call the insurance company and send them also a letter. And you also have to certify the letter, I believe. And then they give you 60 days and then they boot you out.
Okay. So you did it. The first time you did it, you had no idea what the result was going to be. And then it turned out okay.
Yep.
How did it affect your revenues when you dropped that first Medicaid plan?
Well, normally you would think when you drop a plan, your revenue is going to go low. But this is what I keep telling. Like actually my income shot up significantly. And that was only because I was able to spend more time with the patients.
Interesting. So you saw an increase in collections after dropping the plan, the first plan.
I had to do 3 crowns in order to get the same amount when I could get 1 fee-for-service crown. Right. So why would I go through 3 crowns and still not be able to give them a good product? Because insurance have rules. I can only do all metal crown on them. I can't do PFMs or porcelain with high noble gold. Like there's a whole bunch of things back then, right? So I was able to eliminate all that, tell my patient exactly what I'm going to give them. They left happy. I was happy with my work. And they paid me money for it. And I actually started seeing more income.
Interesting. One thing I should mention to the listeners, we don't go over on podcasts or broad public videos. We usually don't go over collection numbers and things like this. You may wonder why, just because this is a broad public thing. Normally in our trade, like you've been in our magazine before, you shared your numbers and your actual numbers. We do that in trade magazines where it goes to dentists, but we usually don't. I just thought it was bad form. That's what we have clients give percentages. Yeah, that's usually how we do that. And that's why when I said you did 30X, you've gone up. What would that be? Is that 3,000%? 3,000? No. Yeah, 3,000%. You're up by 3,000%.
That's right.
That sounds way better than 300. Okay, good. So then you dropped the union plan. Okay. Was there some moment that made you drop it, or right after Medicaid where you were like, I'm just dropping all of these?
No, it all was timed like, I didn't just drop all the plans one day and have no patients in the office. So every few months I would pick a plan which was not working best for us and I'd say, okay, drop this, drop that. So it took me almost 4 years.
Wow.
To the last plan I dropped. And the last plan I dropped actually had the exact same fee structure as my private fees.
Wow.
I still dropped it because the rep just pissed me off.
So it's paying the same thing.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. But he's like, oh, you can, like, when you, like, I want to work for me. I'm not working for some insurance company and they're not telling me how I should treat my patient. And when they come back and say, well, you can do this, you cannot do that. I'm like, you know what? That's it. I've had enough of you guys. Get out of my face. That's it. It was over.
Interesting. Okay. So from 2011 to 2015, you dropped all of your plans. So that's interesting because we've told people like sometimes it might take you a few years and you were only 5% fee for service.
That's correct.
Yeah. So 95% of your office was plans.
That's correct. Or some insurance.
Exactly. Okay, good. So that makes sense. That makes sense. Were you guys doing any marketing at that time?
So from 2011 to 2015, it was still very simple marketing, nothing fancy. So I kept my place clean. I would send out care to share cards. We would ask for referrals from our existing clients. I had a person in charge of it. All they would do is, it was a full-time position for that person, and that's all they would do. They would keep the place clean, ask people for referrals. They would give care to share cards.
Oh, and just so that they may not know what care to share. Care to share is like a little thing we teach at the new patient workshop. It's It's like a referral card you give out.
That's right. Yeah, it's a referral card.
To
basically,
induce them to send their friends in.
Send friends, family.
We have a program that comes with that. As a matter of fact, we'll put the Care to Share program as a link. Like we'll put you mentioned the communication seminars. We'll put that as a link on the episode webpage. We'll also put the Care to Share program. If you want to download that, it shows you how to make the card and how to use it. We'll put that on the episode webpage as well.
Cool.
So that's all they did. Care to Share and no external marketing.
No external marketing at that point of time. 2015, I know now I've dropped all the plans. I needed to get new patients in. So I did other things like external marketing, like with mailers and stuff. But 2016 through 2020, I added more stuff to it. I did more digital marketing like Facebook and Instagram. And I was not even I had a nice website always. Well, not a nice website, some kind of a website, which I probably paid some guy from India, I don't know, maybe $1,000 to make the website.
Okay.
But over the years, I think I've significantly improved my website and it looks a lot nicer now.
Yeah, it is a nice site.
And I do a lot of SEO on it. That's over these last 4 or 5 years. I feel it's the digital way now. So you have to be known and people have to search for you and they have to find you instantaneously. You don't want to be on the 4th page of Google.
Right.
You want to be on the first spot in Google.
Okay. So then you started off simple, then you moved into digital, right? If you were to break your current new patient flow down as far as where you get them from,
okay.
what percentage come from digital marketing efforts?
It's very hard for me to tell. It comes from digital or it comes from, like the only thing I can say for sure is if it's a referred patient, I know that's coming from that person, but I can't ever tell it's digital. It came from a mailing card or it came from some other piece of, marketing I did. So what I normally go by is I look at my gross income and I look at the amount of, marketing I've done in dollars and what I've done. And if they kind of correlate together, I'm happy with it.
Got it.
Okay. That's how
you have an idea of what you want to see as a return. Got it. Okay, good. And then, so now we've gone from where you started and kind of you talked about your expansion a little bit, what you did. And it's funny because I think sometimes when you talk about dropping plans, people think it's going to be this, huge complex algorithm. For you, it was intelligent and simple. It was just start with the worst ones first, and work your way up.
That's correct.
So you got to one which was paying your normal fee.
That's right. And we were 5 of us back then. I'm 38 people today, including 8 doctors and 3 hygienists.
See, that was what I was going to ask you next because you had 5 staff in the beginning and you got Dr. Divy to come work with you. Right. So now
I have 8 doctors altogether. 4 of them are specialists. And then I have 3 hygienists and the remainder of the 31 employees are just employees.
So you have people working on the phones with new patients and all kinds of stuff.
I have a team for new patients. I have a team for recall. I have a good clinical team which does all my scanning. I actually even have an in-house lab now. So
wow. And that's the thing I think that always blows people away too. Now I know you just set up space across the street, which will be completed in the next week or two. It'll be like a surgical suite, right? Because it is tough finding adjoining space in New York City. That can get, you have what you have.
That's correct.
But how big is your original office?
The original office is 900 square feet. And I somehow managed, when I started, I only had 4 operatories.
Yeah.
I expanded, not even 4, 3 operatories. I expanded to 6.
So you have 6 ops and 900 square feet.
Right. There's no space for anything else.
And that's why you rented the apartment upstairs.
That's correct. And that used to be a lunchroom or office. It's like more like an office space for us so we could have our meetings and such.
Sure.
And then over time, I realized we needed a lab to do some in-house stuff for us. So I gave a portion of that area to the lab. So that area got constricted too. So now I knew I needed to improve again and expand on something else and get a new location. And lucky for me, the person across the street went out of business. And that was old. It was actually previously a medical office, kind of beat though. So I took that space over and I'm renovating it now. And that's a little bit bigger than mine, not too big. It's maybe 1,200 square feet.
Okay.
And I'm putting 4 more chairs there. And making it now a 10 operatory office.
Wow.
Hopefully that'll expand further. We'll find out.
Oh, that's super cool. That is super. So you've gone from 5 staff, 900 square feet, 4 ops to an upstairs lab space to another 1,000 to 1,200 square feet across the street to 10 ops.
That's correct.
Wow. Yeah. I know when you tell people you have 6 ops out of 900 square feet, they usually freak out a little bit.
That's true. They always do. How do you manage to do that? Actually, there's no room though. Anytime when people want to come and observe what I'm doing in the office, I have no problem inviting them. I always wonder where will they stand? It's just there's so much maneuvering we have to do to get things in, but My staff know how to do it. I just think it'll be very awkward for the third person to come and stand and watch what we're doing. It's going to be almost impossible.
Well, I think a parking space is technically 125 square feet.
Huh.
Yeah, so like your office is technically 7.5 parking spaces.
That's
your original.
correct.
That's how big it is if you're thinking with square footage. But okay, cool. So your office is killing it now. We talked when we know this, and if you want to know more, you can always ask more about it with us. But so okay, are there any other last thoughts? Because this doesn't seem like a super complex proposition. It takes dedication and knowing what you're doing. Right. But are there any other last thoughts or ideas or anything you want to leave the listeners with? If so I'm out here listening, thinking, okay, yeah, I'd like to drop my plans. Where would I start?
Well, before you drop any plans, I would suggest they have some understanding on how to run a business. Dentistry is it's a field where they give you plenty of education. There's plenty of CE on doing all kinds of fancy courses like all-on-4, sleep apnea, Botox, fillers, all of that stuff. But you hardly find people give you any classes on how to manage a dental office. So I think there should be some form of learning they can get for how to run a business and how to do some sales as well, because no business is going to function if there's no sales.
Right.
So they should understand how to, you don't have to call it sales, maybe treatment plans, but effectively do treatment plans, make patients buy those treatment plans, and then be able to deliver them. So they have to learn these three different things. The delivery aspect of it, you learn from your CE classes, but actually to do the sales part of it or the treatment plan part of it, and also be able to market them, that kind of stuff, and manage them well, you need a management group to teach you this. That I always give to MGE. If they didn't give me this, I'd probably still be in that same old place, making the same old money, hating every single morning when I wake up and doing the same damn thing.
Right.
And I would have never enjoyed doing dentistry. Dentistry is such a beautiful profession. If it's done properly, sky's the limit.
Wow. No, that's cool. That's cool. And so what would you recommend a person start with? The sales training first?
At least, yeah. Start with a sales training and then get them into some form of management training to put some basic structure. Nothing complex, basic structure. Then at this point of time, you're comfortable getting others, like you'll be able to talk to patients more comfortably and get them to do a few, like not except for 1 crown, but maybe they'll accept 3 or 4 crowns.
Right.
And that's going to change the way you will look at dentistry now. I'm very, very confident anyone doing this would definitely enjoy doing dentistry more than what they're doing right now, just letting what the insurance tells them to do.
Right. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, good. Thank you so much for your time. I wanted to do this when you were here in person. I didn't want to do this over Zoom. I hate those Zoom podcasts because you get that weird delay. And you can see Dr. Philomin does still practice in New York, but he is actually one of MGE seminar speakers. He actually delivers part of those sales seminars now.
Oh, that is true.
So you can get to meet him if you come to one of those. So I'll leave a link for that to the ABC seminars on the episode webpage. And that other thing, the Care Enough to Share card and program to get more new patient referrals. I'll also put a link to that on the episode webpage. Dr. Philomin, thank you so much for being here. It is super appreciated. And we'll have you back again because there's all kinds of things we can talk about.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Thank you. All right, folks. I really appreciate you listening to this. I hope this helped a lot. And again, the links are on the episode webpage. If you have any questions about MGE, you can always email me at jeffb@mgeonline.com, or you could visit our website, mgeonline.com, fill out our contact us form. You could also call us at 800-640-1140. Have a great week, and we'll see you at the next episode.